If you have been struggling with a thinning or a damaged hairline, you have no edges, your edges are balding, they're gone on vacation, you are not alone. This video is going to help you finally get your edges back with only one ingredient. I will share how to use it, where to buy it, how often to use it, exactly how you can get your edges back with this one ingredient, and it is Minoxidil. Now, I feel like this product should be more popular because everyone is always rushing to castor oil, rosemary oil, because minoxidil is very much viewed as some kind of a drug, a prescription that is very chemical heavy, and we always want to go the natural route. However, I'm assuming if you're watching this video, you've perhaps tried a lot of natural things and you haven't tried minoxidil yet. If you're new here, my name is Angelica, aka Angie B. If you don't know me, welcome to my channel. I do post videos twice a week, every single week, all about hair growth with shorts in between. So if that seems interesting, consider subscribing. The subscription button is right down there, as well as the bell icon. Make sure you hit the bell so you get notifications every single time I post. Let's get into it. So let's first talk about what minoxidil actually is, because a lot of people seem to be confused, and some people look at brand names and they think it's something else, like Rogaine is also minoxidil. Different brands just have different names for the same things. Minoxidil was actually created as oral medication to treat high blood pressure. And then doctors realized that it was promoting hair growth and they thought, let's see if we can also use this specifically for hair growth, and it worked. You can ingest it, but you can also use it topically, and most people have found best results topically because, especially if you want to fix a specific part like your hairline, it's best to apply the minoxidil directly to the affected area. So how does it work? The biggest way that it works is it increases a lot of blood flow to whatever area you apply it to, provided the area has hair follicles. If you put it on a part that doesn't have follicles, nothing will happen. So if you put minoxidil on your palm, you have no hair follicles on your palm. Hair is not going to be magically growing out of your palm. But if you put it somewhere like on your cheek, even though it's just vellus hair and you can barely see it, you do have hair follicles there, so it can grow there. So aside from increasing blood flow to the area, it helps nourish your follicles. It helps actually increase the hair growth in that area by doing this. And more importantly, it prolongs the hair growth cycle, which is the anagen phase. Unfortunately, it cannot reverse genetic hair loss, but it can extend the time it's going to take for you to lose the hair if it is genetic. And then if you have areas where your hair is not balding or anything, it's just thinning like your hairline, it will help thicken that area up and wake up a lot of those dormant follicles. So what you can expect. The first thing you need to know is to manage your expectations. And for this, I would say for you to get significant results, not just noticing like, oh, it looks like there's something happening. No. For you to see results like, wow, I had no edges and now I can see all my edges fully growing back, you need to allow 3 to 6 months for those kinds of results. You will not get results in 2 weeks. So in about 2 weeks, you probably start noticing some results, something's happening. But for you to be like, okay, this has done the job, my edges are back, give it 3 to 6 months. And this applies to any product, not just minoxidil. So if you watch this video and you think, actually, I don't want to use minoxidil, I'll use something else on my edges, still wait 3 to 6 months. And sometimes it can even take up to a full year for you to achieve full restoration of your hairline. Another thing you need to notice is that sometimes when you start using it, your hair may shed a little bit more. So even though you have not that much edges, do not panic. You need to give it a little bit of time because it increases the rate of your hair growth and forces your hair to grow quicker than it usually does. All the dormant follicles that were already going to fall out eventually may all sort of start to fall out at the same time, and you might panic. You need to hold on because this might just happen right before your hair starts to grow. It's kind of like the purging period when you try certain skincare products like certain vitamin C's and tretinoin, any kinds of retinols. Sometimes you have like a breakout first and then your skin starts to clear up. So look at it like that. That is just a normal part of the process. So now let's get into how you can actually use it for hair growth. There are 2 different types of topical minoxidil. One is a liquid form and the other one is in the form of a foam. That's a tongue twister. Anyway, you simply need to choose the one that you prefer. A lot of people prefer the liquid one because they think it's easy to apply, but some people think it drips a lot more. The foam one can be a little bit messier, but because it's a foam, it doesn't necessarily drip. It is also less oily, so you just need to pick which one works best for you. So once you've chosen between the foam and the liquid, here's how you use it. You want to start with clean, dry hair and skin. So especially on your hairline, it is very easy for you to maintain this area as clean because you can just simply wash the little front part of your hair. I'm sure there's hardly any hair anywhere if you're going to Minoxidil, because I've noticed that a lot of people like to use Minoxidil as a last option. It's not like when you have a tiny bald patch. Usually your hairline is pretty severely damaged, so it's easy to just gently wash off that area, make sure your scalp is clean, your hair is clean, and then it's time to apply. You are going to part your hair if there's hair to part. If not, you're going to go to the exposed areas and apply the Minoxidil directly to the part that has damage. You are not going to apply it to other areas because that is unnecessary. The recommended amount is about 1 ml in the areas where you need it. Using more product will not make it more effective. I've seen a lot of people go like, I'm just gonna put so much product to make sure it's really getting in there. But sometimes you can even get side effects and it won't work as well. Just use the recommended amount according to the dose and the packaging, the brand that you bought. Once you apply it, you want to massage it into your scalp in those areas very gently to ensure that it is absorbed perfectly by the scalp. And if it does happen to drip, you can avoid it from dripping in those areas because the massaging process will also help it distribute and absorb better. And now let's get into frequency. For most Minoxidil, depending on whatever dose you have, there is a recommended amount of time of use for it to be effective. If you use it too much, you may get side effects. If you don't use it enough, you probably won't see anything happening. You won't get the results you want if you are not consistent. So most Minoxidil is recommended to be used twice a day. Once in the morning, once in the evening. You don't have to say, I'm going to do it 3 or 4 times a day so it's more effective. Twice a day is already a lot of time. Even if it probably just takes 1 minute to do, it's still annoying if you have to do it twice a day. That's the max. Now, before you style your hair, you need to take note that Minoxidil has a drying/setting time. You don't want to immediately put Minoxidil in and then immediately put a bunch of products over like hair gel and whatever. You want to let it dry. Sometimes it can take 3 to 4 hours to fully dry if you have a lot of hair in that area. But if you've got very little hair, it'll probably take a very small amount of time. And so for your evening step, you should probably also do it earlier instead of doing it right before going to bed, so it's not like going all over your pillows and stuff like that. You don't want it to get into any other areas and promote growth in unwanted areas like your face. Also, so that the product applies very well and absorbs well and works effectively, you want to avoid wetting your hair or washing your hair at least 4 hours after you have applied it. So if you're planning to wash your hair on that day, make sure maybe the first thing you do when you wake up, apply the Minoxidil, and then you can wash your hair like 4 hours later. Just make sure that it's completely dry, it's had time to absorb before you start adding a bunch of products on top. Now, tips for maximizing your results. The number one tip out of all of them is to be consistent. If you've decided that you're going to use it twice a day, every single day, or once a day, every single day, stick to it, okay? If you don't see as much results as you'd like in 2 weeks, continue. Give it up to 6 months for you to say, okay, this is not really working, this is working. 3 to 6 months is the ideal time. Just be as consistent as you possibly can. Another thing that is supportive is your lifestyle, your health, and your hairstyles. Lifestyle meaning you still want to drink lots of water, eat healthy. Topical ingredients can only do so much. If a lot of your hair loss is due to an extremely bad diet, you're constantly dehydrated, the Minoxidil will help you a little bit, but it's not going to do much. Focus on a healthier lifestyle, drink your water, and when it comes to hairstyles, if the Minoxidil is helping you grow the hair and then you are manually pulling the hair out by doing tight hairstyles, it's not going to work for you. There's nothing it can do. It cannot outdo the manual force that you're doing of pulling that hair out. I see a lot of people that actually see quicker results than they expected. So like 3 weeks, 1 month, they're like, wow, my hair is doing so much better. I can actually now go back to the hairstyles that pulled my edges out in the first place because I think my hair can handle it. No, it cannot. Let your edges fully heal. And then after that, still do not do whatever caused the edges to fall out in the first place. Getting exercise and reducing your stress by getting enough sleep will also help as well, because one of the #1 causes of hair loss is actually stress, and sometimes it can start at your hairline. Now, because this is a medical grade product, there is a higher chance compared to other natural ingredients like rosemary oil of you having some kind of a side effect. So it is very important that you do a patch test and ensure that if you have any kinds of side effects like a rash, burning, itching, you should stop using it. Even if it seems like it's making your hair grow, it may not be worth it, because that could even reverse the positive effects of the product. It is safe for most people, but some people do have a little bit of irritation, dryness, redness, itchiness. Itchiness is actually one of the most common ones, but the itchiness can be managed. If it's excessive itching, then you want to stop using it. Another side effect is unwanted hair growth, and this is usually due to error of application. That's why you want to make sure you are very precise with your application and wash your hands very thoroughly, and whatever tool you use to apply it to your scalp or your hair as well thoroughly afterwards. Because if you touch your face or the product touches your face, anywhere where you actually have hair follicles, the hair can grow in thicker and fuller because of the stimulation from the minoxidil. And I've actually seen people with those side effects like on the side of their face. Now, if you are unsure about using it because you have an underlying health condition and you're on any kinds of medication, I'm sure you have some kind of healthcare professional that prescribes those medications to you. It would be best to ask them before you do anything like that. Underlying conditions also includes being pregnant. So now when it comes to realistic expectations, you can either have extremely dramatic effects or very minor effects. Unfortunately, like everything, it doesn't work as well for everyone, but for some people, you can see dramatic effects, and it is definitely worth a try. The less damaged your hair and your follicles are, the more dramatic your results are. So if you happen to lose a lot of your hair, but it's because you are doing a lot of tight hairstyles, but your follicles aren't damaged yet, you might see drastic results. But if this is something you've been dealing with for years and you have severely damaged your follicles and you are in the late stages of possibly needing a hair transplant, the results will not be as dramatic for you, unfortunately. Also, everyone has different genetics and different hair growth rates, so the rate at which the minoxidil is going to help your hair grow will also depend on your genetics, but it still will be effective if you are in the group of people that it works for. Now, the long-term commitment is something that a lot of people don't talk about enough, because this can be very expensive, especially if your hair loss is due to something like hormones, early balding. If it's a very hormonal health issue, it's kind of like you are extending the hair growth phase by force, which means if you stop using the minoxidil, you will lose all or a lot of the hair that has grown back. However, if the hair loss was due to mechanical damage and you have stopped doing whatever was causing the mechanical damage, so like very tight hairstyles, tight buns, stuff that was pulling your edges out, if you stop using it, you'll probably be able to maintain that hair. But if it was due to any other medical, any other health issue that made the hair fall out, you will most likely have to stay on minoxidil for as long as you want your edges. And this is the #1 reason why people like to try other avenues like rosemary oil and stuff before, because it turns out cheaper. Because if it is an issue like early female pattern balding, you will have to use this basically for the rest of your life. If you've used minoxidil before, I would love to know about your results in the comment section below, and let us know how long it took for you to see results. If not, and you're willing to try it, let me know if and when you're going to try it. Hit my face right there to subscribe if you didn't in the beginning, and watch this rosemary oil video if you want to try that instead of minoxidil, because it does have sort of similar results. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!